Today we're looking at the challenging topic of how to share your faith with an atheist. The first thing you need to ask an atheist is, do you really seek to discover the truth, even if it costs you your reputation and your friends? If the answer is no, then realise that they are not willing to go where the evidence leads. You won't be having an honest intellectual dialogue. A couple of don'ts to begin with. Don't talk about sin with an atheist. To them, morality is dependent on the situation, with no reference point in their mind for a concept of sin. Don't get dragged into arguments about what God did or didn't do. Focus on the evidence that Christ existed, died on the cross and rose again. Your personal testimony is very powerful because it's very difficult to disprove the real and lasting change that Christ has brought to your life. The bottom line is that you cannot argue someone to faith in Christ. How do we love our atheist neighbours? In the same way we love any other neighbours. We treat them with respect as people made in the image of God. We offer hospitality. We seek to understand them. Our first responsibility is to listen. We need to understand where they are coming from. If we're going to begin with listening, there are two questions I love to raise with atheists. I like to ask, which argument for God do you find the strongest and why does it fail? And the second is similar. What's the best reason to believe in God and why does it not convince you? Here are some other questions to get them to open up and steer the conversation. What evidence would you accept as proof for the existence of God? How could God prove himself to you? What if God did appear to you and you were convinced that God existed? How would you convince somebody else of God's reality? Can I prove that God exists? Well, not easily. I'm confident that God can prove his own existence, but he doesn't seem inclined to do so, at least not yet. I know that he will, in his own time, erase all doubt of his reality from the mind of every intelligent being. But, as C.S. Lewis said, when the author walks onto the stage, the play is over. But I believe God is. I know there is a God because I know there is a God. Circular argument? Well, yes, but I can't break out of the circle. I can't unknow what I know and still be true to myself. One possible approach I have used, I say, suppose you knew me to be a generally truthful person, and suppose I told you that there was a Yeti living in the woods behind my house. Now suppose several other reliable people told you the same thing. Then they said that if you were to go and investigate the woods yourself, although they could not guarantee that you would see Bigfoot, they nevertheless stated there was a high probability that you would. Wouldn't you at least bother going to have a look? Hopefully your friend is now open to investigation, so suggest that they pray to God and see if anything happens. Tell them to ask God if he is real and if so to somehow let you know. To ask sincerely, even though of course they will ask sceptically. What have they got to lose? You at least know there are intelligent, sincere people who claim to have met God. Why not examine the evidence for yourself? Tell them you're simply sharing your experience with God, and that you hope they might have a similar experience, so that you're offering a possibility of an experience, no guarantees, but the possibility of experiencing God, however unlikely they may feel that is. Often what people really want is scientific evidence. In the realm of science, evidence refers to data you can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. Things that directly confirm or undermine a hypothesis. Many truths that exist we cannot prove through physical evidence. For instance, we don't have physical evidence that life is meaningful or that murder is wrong. We understand these statements to be true, but not because we found physical evidence to support them. We believe these truths on the basis of another sort of evidence. When we're searching for God, do not expect to find direct, physical, scientific evidence for his existence within time and space. This fact is important. It's not just that we have not found evidence, it's that no such evidence is possible, even in theory. Does that mean it's impossible to demonstrate that God exists? No. It simply means that science is not the right means, just as a metal detector is not the right tool to find a plastic pot. We need other tools when exploring non-scientific questions. Listen deeply for the real why. You see, often atheists have a reason for becoming atheists. Sometimes it's anger over losing a loved one. Other times it's that they were hurt by the church in some way. Whatever it is, there is usually a why, and connect relationally. Atheists are real people with real feelings. They laugh, they cry, they talk, they connect like anyone else. They may try to suppress any belief in God, but sooner or later, atheists will say something like, well, if God is so good, then why? That's the point in the conversation where they've actually forgotten their atheism. They've revealed some of the challenges with not the reality of God, but the nature of God. Frame the gospel as a love story. Something like, at the core of Christianity is a love story. Jesus put it this way: "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but has everlasting life." My job is not to lead someone to Jesus, but to set forth the truth plainly and let the Spirit of God take it from there. Let us love the atheists we encounter as we humbly and gently introduce them to the God who loves them even more. If you would like to know more, then talk to someone you know who is a true Christian, or contact us at any of the addresses given on this slide. Or, if you're local, why not pop in to see us one Sunday morning? You will always be very welcome.